Welcome to Postscript, All Creatures Great and Small, Season 5. We're talking about Episode 3, Homecoming.
I was ready to jump in because I had it on my notes.
I'm Fred Vigeant.
And I'm Christina Zeiders. And so this kind of spoiler, the title of this is Homecoming, and Tristan's back!
There we go. Finally. We had to wait all the way till Episode 3. So Postscript, All Creatures Great and Small is supported by UPMC, online at upmc.com, Pleasant View Retirement Communities at pleasantviewcommunities.org, and Rogers & Associates, found online at rogers-associates.com. Support also comes from you. Your ongoing investment is what makes this all possible. We love meeting with you each and every week to talk about All Creatures Great and Small. You can go to witf.org/mosaic to make a gift of support that is right for you, whether it's $5 a month, $50, one-time gift of $120. You can go your financial support is what makes programs like Postscript and every other original program that WITF and Penn and do possible. So make that pledge of support at witf.org/mosaic.
Yes, and every little bit goes a long way, so we thank you for any gift of support you make. And you can also support us by watching and listening to Postscript. So you can join in the conversation. You can like, comment, and subscribe on your favorite podcast app or on youtube.com/@WITFmosaic. And so, should we get into the episode?
Here we are, Episode 3. So a telegram. We'll just jump right to that.
Yeah.
So that lingers around for like the first, 25 minutes or so?
Yes, it arrives. They're waiting for James's parents to show up.
Oh, right, because the baptism's coming up. I suppose we should talk about that.
That is another point that I forgot to write down.
Oh, baptism.
The baptism.
Yes.
But... So Helen is expecting James's parents. She assumes it's them. She runs away and lets
Mrs. Hall take care
Audrey
of it.
answer the door. But it's actually somebody with a telegram, and it's for Siegfried, and it's in this tiny little envelope, and it's very ominous and scary, and everybody feels uneasy about it. So
Mrs. Hall
tell anybody.
Right, when James's parents are in, and Helen can tell almost immediately that something is off with Mrs. Hall. But she doesn't want to talk about it.
Yeah, she doesn't share. Nobody wants to talk about anything in this episode.
Yeah, that's true. That's the theme of this episode. Nobody wants to talk about it.
I don't want to talk about it. That kind of hangs over our heads.
It does, yeah.
Helen is also, she seems very nervous about James's parents coming to visit. She feels a lot of pressure. I never understood the in-law pressure. Because I've
always gotten along with my in-laws.
My parents are lovely. Yeah. And so anybody who gets to know my parents are very lucky. But so she feels a little bit of dread. She's fussing over some flowers that she put together for Grandma. And James kind of tells her to relax. They're not here to visit them. They're
don't
here
talk about football.
Right. Yeah, don't talk about football. They're just here to see Jimmy. Like he knows he's chopped liver. They're not really going to care about Helen. They just want to see baby Jimmy.
Baby Jimmy.
And that's true. That's all grandparents really want is...
That's true.
So
they can spoil them silly.
Yeah. So the telegram arrives. Audrey kind of tucks it away until Siegfried comes home.
Yes. There's
this little side drama that Siegfried is out for a lot lot of the episode at Biggin's farm. There's
this
goat.
guy. Jeez.
There's a goat who has lumpy jaw.
Lumpy jaw.
That's the layman's term for it.
Right. And apparently has several gates to get through to get to...
Abandon all hope ye who enter here, I think. It was the 7 gates. I think it was the seven gates for the 7 circles of hell, I think was the
something
comment.
along those lines. And,
I think there's 7.
They're
all broken.
And they're all broken. And the guy is... kind of a jerk. I mean, he's constantly chirping at Siegfried about, is this going to cost me more? Of course, you want to prescribe something. You want to get money.
That's more money. Yeah.
It's do you want him to help you or
why
not?
did you even call Siegfried?
Seriously.
If you don't want medicine? Okay.
But I'm going to go off to the pub and have a few pints.
Yeah.
Instead. Yeah, sorry. Jumping ahead. So.
The goat's fine. Whatever. Yeah. But there's this... he talks about the gates being broken to keep the undesirables out, and Siegfried kind of mutters under his breath, or in.
That's right.
And what was that? So there's some tension between them. Siegfried has a feeling that this guy's not administering the medicine because it's a clear diagnosis. There's a medicine that helps, and if he gets the medicine, the goat gets better.
And the goat's not,
And then he doesn't have to come back. He doesn't want to come back. Siegfried does not want to come back to this farm. He does not want to deal with Mr. Biggins. In fact, he tries to pawn this off on James on the day of his child's baptism, so that he doesn't. So he really doesn't want to go.
No.
But yeah, so that comes back around again when Tristan is back in the picture, because the telegram is nothing ominous.
No, I mean, it isn't.
Turns out.
Although later on they are reading into it, like, what does it mean? Is he discharged? Is he injured? Is he...
Right.
You know, so there is a little bit of...
Home tomorrow. Isn't it home tomorrow is the entire telegraph.
And he mentions how Siegfried mentions how Tristan is usually not one to mince words.
Right. He's just says...
I'm coming tomorrow.
Yep.
So...
Yeah, there's this moment where Siegfried obviously loves and cares for Tristan a lot. Before he leaves for the train station, he basically tells Audrey, like, if Tristan is all in one piece, he'll never utter a cross word again to the boy.
Yeah,
I mean, we find out that's not true.
How long that lasts. Yeah.
But the intention is there. He just wants his brother home in one piece.
And
yeah.
So there's that touching moment. He gets to the train station late.
Right, because his car almost doesn't start. He's having trouble with his carburetor.
Right, which was pointed out to him early in the episode.
By Maggie.
Yes.
Sounds like your carburetor.
Yes.
But, Siegfried doesn't know how to fix cars. He fixes animals. That's his skill. True. It's fine.
And so Tristan shows up just because...
Yeah, he's not hiding back with the luggage. Like, he usually rides in the luggage bin so that he can save on a train ticket. But he's actually gotten off the train like a normal person.
Yes.
he's so grown up now. He has a mustache.
He seemed taller too. I don't know why. I mean, I don't remember him being taller than James.
It's the mustache. It adds an extra inch.
It's elevated him. But yeah, so there's a series of very pleasant and nice reunions between Siegfried and Tristan. Yeah, Tristan and Mrs. Hall, and
they actually cried. Did you notice that? They cried when Tristan came home. They didn't care about James coming home. Not even Helen. She was just like, "Oh, good, you're here. Take the baby."
Oh, I thought she cried. No,
I don't. I think she maybe was like, "Oh my god,"
or maybe Jimmy
gave him
cried.
a hug.
Somebody was crying.
So it was probably Jimmy.
It was probably Jimmy saying, "Who the heck are you?"
Because he had a bottle. Like, who are you? I don't know you.
Right, but you're holding my mom back from giving me a bottle.
Everybody cried for Tristan.
Yeah,
everyone cried. Well, James didn't cry for Tristan. He just greeted him like a buddy would.
A buddy, and they were razzing each other in a very playful way,
like brothers would. Yeah.
And of course, we know, just as a side note, we know Carmody is off taking his exams.
Yes.
And I made this mention in the last episode. It's like we're running out of space in this house.
Right.
So I'm curious where is Carmody?
Yeah, because James takes Tristan up to his room, and Hamish is on the bed.
Yeah.
And Tristan's like, who's this? Yeah. And then James has to tell him that Carmody's actually staying in his room. And Tristan seems almost jealous that, like, Siegfried replaced him. I mean, he kind of had to.
Right. James was away. Tristan was away.
Yeah, so he needed somebody to help. But there's this moment of kind of jealousy, but James points out that Siegfried was probably happy for the distraction of having somebody new in the house, and yada, yada, and everything kind of, like, blows over. It's fine.
But it didn't take long for Siegfried and Tristan to kind of be at odds with each other.
Butt heads. And it's just what they do.
That is what they do.
They are brothers at, like, first. And then also Siegfried had to step in and kind of be a fatherly figure too. That's a double whammy. That is a rough relationship to navigate.
Yeah. Well, you see that. I mean, we saw that with Helen and her sister. You know, she was being kind of a mother, motherly figure to Jenny.
Yeah.
But yeah, then likewise, Siegfried was kind of a father figure to Tristan. Right. So.
But brothers are meaner to each other, I think.
You think?
Well, I mean, sisters are mean too, but in a different way.
I'll have to think about that. I have one sister and 3 brothers. But...
Yeah, you just ruminate on that, figure out who was nicer to you.
Okay, I'll do that.
But yeah, at the train station, Tristan fixes Siegfried's car right away.
Yeah, no problem.
I feel like that was the first moment where you're like, oh, Tristan's all grown up now.
Right.
Because he just pops the hood, fixes it up.
Right. He could have been
down.
like, well, sounds like this is a problem you're going to have to figure out. I'm going
Right.
to just lay over here,
Just-
put my feet up, and I'll
He
let
just
you figure it
fixes
out.
So grown.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Tristan's home. The baptism is happening.
Yeah, there's a moment where Tristan is interrupting the baptism.
Yeah,
Jenny
talking to Jenny.
was kind of asking him
Yeah.
questions, and he was responding as Tristan would. So,
Oh wait, and I'm sorry. They go to the bar before that, right?
no, I think the bar is after. It's between. I think it's between. Is it between the baptism? Hold on.
They're pushing the baby back to the house to go to the luncheon, and then they all decide to go to the bar.
Right.
luncheon
It was between
after the
food.
baptism.
Yeah. So there's
Okay.
a baptism. They go to the bar while dinner's being made. Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Sorry. Just,
No, that's okay. The timeline gets a little bit
but
wishy-washy.
that's where Tristan sees the barmaid again.
Maggie.
Yeah.
So my very dark
Did I set this up well for you?
my very dark, foreboding, ominous thought is that Tristan walks in. He immediately asks, "How's Arthur?" And I'm like, Arthur's gonna die because Arthur needs to be out of the way so that Maggie and Tristan, who were so great together, but she thought he was good for a laugh, would get their second chance. Not that I want Arthur to die, but it feels like it has to happen, and they're foreshadowing a little bit with Tristan asking about Arthur and Arthur being, off at war where a lot
Off
of
at
people
war.
die. So
So, and that would provide a
That's-
place for him to stay.
it would. It would. He could stay with Maggie because they
could.
could get married and have lots of babies.
There we go. Not that Christina's been thinking about this at all.
Not at all. Not since like season 1. It's
Yeah.
fine.
Well, and I'll mention also, since we brought up the bar. I mean, apparently Jenny's old enough
Yeah,
to go have a pint with the boys.
This
so,
is another instance where Jenny thinks she's grown.
she's a big girl.
Jenny isn't grown yet. She's at that in-between stage where she thinks she knows what she's doing, but she
trying to
doesn't know
belly
what
up to
she's
the
doing.
big kids table.
But yeah, I think Jenny has a little bit of a crush on Tristan, to be fair.
I think so.
The banter
Yeah.
at the baptism, like I don't
He's the
think
kind of the
anything
bad guy,
right?
and
And
he's
he's
like-
silly, but he's like
and she's kind
in
of
a
the bad girl, sort of.
uniform. He's in uniform.
The second child as well. And, yeah, so,
wild child.
Yeah. I'm gonna go work at a department store.
So
And-
I think she also just wants to hang out with Tristan. I think she thinks Tristan's cute because he is, and he's silly. I think he sees her as like a little sister. So I don't think
Yeah, no,
anything
that's
will
fair.
happen there. But
Yeah.
I think she wants to be around Tristan and
Here's
act
some
like
cool
she's
stories.
grown.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think it's adorable.
So, is there anything else with the mother-in-law, daughter-in-law relationship to mention, or 'cause
So-
that kind of came to a head at the end of the episode?
Right.
but-
So this whole episode, there's these little tiny. It's like they're trying to create this tension between Hannah, which is James's mother, and Helen, because Helen's so nervous about them coming. And like throughout the episode, you see Hannah kind of offer some unsolicited advice or criticizing Helen's mothering a little bit. Like I think there was something about Jimmy's sleep patterns and how, well, if Helen did this, he would sleep through the night, sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
None of it is mean-spirited at all.
No,
But
it's like dabbling in it, but not.
right, it's very standard, normal stuff. Like it wouldn't even really faze me, except I knew they were trying to set it up because they made sure we knew that Helen was nervous about this visit.
Yeah.
At some point, so the surgery is closed for the day because there's a baptism. There is a woman that shows up with a dog who's obsessed with her toy.
Dog toy.
And Hannah's just like, come on in. I'm sure James won't mind helping you on the day of the baptism of his baby. No big
Which also
deal.
meanwhile is when Tristan gets home. Yeah.
Right.
So
James is in. He takes this toy away and is like, maybe some time apart will help. And he puts it in a drawer and he sends this dog on its way. This is an important key to Helen and Hannah getting over this like weird, I don't even want to call it conflict because it's not, but this
it's
like
pretty soft.
this disconnect between the two of them. They haven't bonded really over anything. And Helen took James away from Hannah and all this.
How dare she? Yeah.
So this dog runs from wherever he lives
Wherever. Down the
back
road,
to
next door,
his
who
surgery
knows?
and
Yeah.
is scratching at the door.
Yeah.
Helen lets the dog in. I think it was Helen.
Yeah.
And it goes straight to the exam room, starts scratching at that door. Helen and Hannah both let the dog in, and this dog, because it's a girl, is looking straight at this drawer. They open the drawers, they find this little toy, and they give it back to the dog, and they're like, this is weird that this dog came all this way for a toy.
Yeah.
So they go back out to the living room,
hanging out,
and, Helen's kind of like petting the dog. And they're talking about James's dog back home who still waits for him.
Yes.
And
just like she does.
Yeah. Another slight jab. And Helen feels that teats, which I always giggle. I'm sorry, I'm like 12 years old inside. And she says, they feel a little swollen. I think this is a phantom pregnancy. And so James comes home and finds this dog, and he knows who the dog belongs to, so they can get them reunited with the owner. But Hannah kind of says about how cruel it was that he took the dog's baby away, because this stuffed animal was the dog's baby because it's having a phantom pregnancy. And Hannah goes, I guess that's something only a mother would know. And then Helen and her bond over motherhood. And I don't like it. It feels a little bit shallow to me, but at least this tension was broken.
They bonded. They had a breakthrough. We witnessed a breakthrough.
It was a
Christina.
breakthrough.
Yeah.
But there's a moment then where Hannah does tell Helen, 2 H names.
You're doing a great job.
Hannah tells Helen that she's doing a great job. Yeah.
Holds her hand and says you're doing great. Yeah. And then the dog bites a big chunk of it. No, I'm kidding. That's what I was waiting for. It was
the dog takes his baby. He goes,
No, that didn't happen at all.
No, the dog's very sweet, taking care of its baby. It's adorable.
And then, the episode kind of, again, just like the last 2 episodes, kind of just wraps like in a bow. And Tristan's home. We're having a good time. Mrs. Hall saved some special bourbon or something for him.
She finds the bottle. She finds his favorite.
I was thinking...
there is also another point that we should probably touch on quickly, is that whenever somebody asks Tristan about the war, he avoids.
Yes, he steers clear of it.
He just makes a joke. Which is not
unusual.
No, it's not unusual for Tristan, but I think
it's not unusual for a veteran.
Oh, well, that's true too. They not want to talk about what they've seen, but I feel like that's an avenue they might explore in future episodes.
Right, because is it that, or is it he maybe was up to no good and doesn't want to actually come to the war? This is Tristan after all.
He hasn't been discharged. He's in town because he's training other vets. So.
Right, he's lecturing 3 days a week nearby or something.
So I don't think he was up to too much no good.
No,
but
we'll find out.
He doesn't want to talk about it. I think Siegfried seems extra concerned because he has been to war as well in the same unit and had dealt with some very heavy stuff. And so I think it bothers him especially that Tristan isn't want to talking about it. But that's another aspect that we should probably touch on.
But all the 3 episodes, so to date here, all doing a lot of foundational groundwork. I feel like we got a lot still
setting
to come.
things up.
Yeah. Well, that's what I mean. It's just...
and everything is very settled by the end.
Yeah,
there's nothing that's...
Exactly. There's no cliffhangers, no nail biters.
Yeah, nothing too crazy. Not too much drama between any of the characters so far, at least.
Yeah, no, Tristan's back.
Yeah, Tristan and Siegfried are at each other's throats
James
again, but as usual.
Yeah.
There's a dynamic there that's shifting because... Tristan doesn't need Siegfried in the same way, but that's the goal.
Yeah, my only observation with this episode, and I was thinking about it the last 2 as well, but because they were having a luncheon because of the baptism, is, they were rationing at this time.
Yeah.
And I don't really, that's not at least made a point of.
I can't remember which episode it was in, but Mrs. Hall was getting secret supplies from somewhere so that she could I think it was for this episode.
It was for this
she
episode.
Was making the cake.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there is a slight mention of the rationing, but she's basically getting
this package
from the underground of probably sugar, I would imagine, something like that.
Yeah,
they
make it pretty obvious, but if it's going to be under the table exchange
she
of
said
sugar,
it's all above board.
Oh, it's all above board. Well, it's Mrs. Hall after all. We know it's not Tristan.
She's going to twist some rules. She's not going to break them.
That's right.
So.
She'll have to answer to Mr. Bosworth if that's the case. So.
I bet you he's the one getting her sugar.
Oh, man. Now there is a plot twist.
Well, there is a romance brewing.
All right. On that note, thank you so much for joining us, listening to and watching Postscript Episode 3, Homecoming. We hope you enjoyed this. We certainly would like to hear your feedback as well.
Yes, so you can send your feedback to ps@witf.org, or you can comment on the YouTube video.
Yes.
Either one of those works great for us. And if you want to make a gift, you can make a gift at witf.org/mosaic, and that supports Postscript and all other original content created by WITF and Pennon.
Thank you to our production team working behind the camera, our videographer, editor, Joe Randazzo, and all-star producer, Aimee Bealer. They make sure we are looking and sounding good. Thank you very much. Thank you, you two, for your help.
And we will see you next week for Episode 4. I don't know the title, but we'll be back.
Episode 4. We'll see you then.
Bye.